Good evening and welcome to the first of two Beyond the Front Page shows brought to you by QU Community College for the spring 27 semester here at the college. And it is broadcast on Time Warner Communications, Verizon's Fios, the Auburn Regional Media Access, better known as ARMA, and Win 89.1, the college's radio station. I'm your host, Guy Cosentino. 2017 marks the start of several years of events celebrating the adoption of the 19th Amendment to the Constitution in 1919-1920, granting women the right to vote, something set out in the Declaration of Sentiments some 71 years before in Seneca Falls, New York. Well known as one of the pillars of the suffragette movement, Seneca Falls houses the National Women's Hall of Fame that honors the contributions of women annually to society. Last year, the community held its first ever 19K Right to Run, which we profiled on this show, an event that the community had that had runners from age 4 to 88 and over 1,000 runners. On Saturday, May 13th, they kick off their second race with both a 19K and a 5K race. We have with us two of the supporters of the event, both from Generations Bank, their president and CEO, MENZO Case, as well as Katie McIntyre, their assistant vice president for marketing, who is also an Auburnian, to talk about this event. And if we have some time, we'll also talk about the Boston Marathon and why that's important to Auburn as well. Welcome back. It's great to have you both here. If people go around Auburn and Central New York, they see lots of these posters, whether it's orange leggings or green leggings or sneakers. But let's talk a little bit about what this is and why you're all involved. So, what is the 19K Right to Run?
Well, it's an event for all people, all ages, doesn't matter, male, female.
So if you're a man, you can run in this?
Absolutely. Okay. We'd like to have a few men out there. We had plenty. Okay. The whole idea is to raise money for the National Women's Hall of Fame and their Center for Great Women, the renovation of the mill.
So this is the knitting mill. If people watch the end of this show, the artwork that we have traditionally had on for the last, 12 years has been the knitting mill. For some reason, right. QE Community College is showing Seneca Falls, but that's a different story. Yeah. For those who don't know, what is going on at the knitting mill?
Well, it's a complete renovation, and we're going to do the interior over, of course, but historic preservation is involved, so that it's going to look a lot like it used to back in the late 1800s when it was established. So we put a lot of money into refurbishing the brick, getting the limestone all set. We're going to try to keep the smokestack, but at the same time we're going to modernize the interior, and we're going to have the Hall for Great Women, or Hall of Fame, housed there.
So currently it is on Falls Street. Am I correct on that? It's in a
small. No, it's across the canal.
Across the canal.
We're on Bridge Street.
You're on Bridge Street currently.
Yeah. Oh no, the Hall of Fame right now. I'm sorry. It's on Fall Street.
It's a very tight space.
There it is. Very
tight space.
The former Generations Bank, as a matter of fact, when we were the Seneca Falls Savings Bank in the late 1800s, that was our office, and we still own the building.
And so everything will be moving across.
I can't wait to move them over.
So when do you hope to have that done?
Our deadline is the summer of 2018.
Okay.
And we're in good shape. We just got all the windows in.
So you've acquired the property.
Yep.
If you put the windows in, you have
We've
acquired
put the windows in.
Sure. So is that something, I know you have received some, and I know we're getting far afield from the run, but this goes into it. You have received some Regional Economic Development Council money for this as well?
Yes, we have. We've received quite a bit.
So how much is the overall project?
The project to get in the first floor is about $10 million.
Okay.
We're down to the last $6 million, so we've already spent about $4.5–5 million on the project.
And where is that Red Sea money? Is that on the already spent money or the yet to be spent?
It's a split.
Okay.
And there's another portion in the second half.
So the second half would be so when you say first floor, and then what is the hope for the other parts of the structure?
Well, my hope is we can occupy the entire building, but reality is we'll be in the first floor, and then we have a whole plan. And we'll start fundraising for that second part of the project as we develop the first floor, get exhibits.
And we should say you're on the board of directors for that.
Yes, I am. I'm the development chair.
Lucky you. Yeah. You know, bankers are either going on one or two committees: development or your treasurer.
Right.
So
I've shunned treasurer.
Treasurer. Okay. Right. So let's go back to the 19K for a second. When is it?
It's Saturday, May 13th.
Okay.
The Saturday of Mother's Day.
And where is it being held exactly?
So there's a 5K and a 19K. They both start in different locations. They end in the same location, which is the Seneca Knitting Mill. So the 19K starts at Rodman Lot and Son Farm down 414, where Empire Farm Days are.
Okay.
And then the 5K starts at NYCC, and they both end.
And that's
then,
Chiropractic College.
Yes,
for
the New
those
York
that-
Chiropractic
okay.
College.
And so people pick and choose what they're doing. Is this a race that's certified? So I know that
Yes.
many of you.
It is. So the
your
courses are
time-
USATF certified.
Okay. So somebody can qualify and work that. And I only ask that because oddly enough, it's 19K, and you either hear about 26 or 13, or what is it?
Right,
12.9.
13.1. A half
13.1.
marathon is the most popular distance right now.
Okay. So this is the second year you're doing this?
Yes.
Second.
And how many did you have last year show up?
So in our first year, we had 1,055.
And you backed up traffic to Albuquerque. No, you did. I mean, it was great. You backed up traffic everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
And
We had it all screwed up.
no.
nice.
No, I say that in a good way.
Oh, so do I. I
mean,
love it.
just
Absolutely.
you did not expect over 1,000 runners, did you,
No.
for the first time?
No, and I mean, we did research on other races across the whole state, and no other race has had that many people in their first year.
And
So
what's your target this year?
1,500.
And where are you in? So we're about a month and a half out for
Yes.
registration. So people can go online, go to 19K.
they can go to rightorun19k.org.
Okay.
And there's a link there for registration. All the registration is handled through a run sign up page, and they can register. They'll choose their t-shirt sizes, and soon they'll be able to buy a pair of these socks because we're making.
Which
Oh,
is
so
funny.
these are. So these
We're
are.
actually going to make
So
the
this is
socks.
just not language on. Well, that makes sense if you've got a knitting mill.
Knitting mill made
Okay.
socks.
All right.
Right, and I just wanted to add to that, guy. So in 1870, when Generations Bank was started, our first bank president was a man named Jacob Chamberlain, and he used to own the Seneca Knitting Mill. He
Oh, okay.
also was one of the 32 men who signed the Declaration of Sentiments.
And so it's all just coming
it's just
around
coming
full
back
circle.
147 years
So
later.
for those who can't read this, so my daughter, so some of the things it'll say on the sock are, so my daughter can do anything, you can run for anything, for great women past and future. This is why I'm not putting it up there because the light will show on it. Because we know our place, for Susan and Elizabeth, because we love fast women, equality, humanity, for solidarity, for my grandmother who couldn't. To celebrate 100 years. So you'll be able, how much are the socks going to cost?
$19.
19. Of course they are. Everything's tied in.
That's
You're
right.
the marketing person for this
I
thing?
am.
I just didn't know. I just want to make it. So you also, you want runners, obviously, but you also want volunteers because 1,500 people is a lot of people.
Yeah.
We
So
do.
how are you looking, how can people help otherwise?
Sure. So we would love, of course, you mentioned age 4 to age 88.
That was last year.
That was last year.
So did the 4-year-old do the, which?
She ran the 5K with her family.
Okay.
Yeah. So
And the 88-year-old did the?
it was a couple. They're actually director emeritus on our bank board, and they walked it, and they walk through town every day.
Okay.
But it was great to see them cross the finish line holding hands. And but we do need volunteers. So on the same run sign-up page where people could choose the 5K or the 19K, they can choose a volunteer position. And there's many, many available. All of the volunteers get a beautiful Mackenzie Childs designed volunteer t-shirt.
So who are some of the, obviously Generations is a sponsor of this. Who are some of your other sponsors who are helping out with this?
Bonadin is a sponsor. They've got a
I have many of their products in my mouth right
right,
now.
and thank you very much because they're able to sponsor us. So they'll be
Okay.
doing some sponsorship with what was it they ended up with?
With one of the race bibs.
Yeah,
So-
Okay.
so that'll be very nice.
And then also
And
the
Mr. Bonfiglia had a company in Auburn. He has a much expanded company out
In Seneca Falls,
now.
right?
Okay.
The old Walmart.
yes,
Okay.
and then also the Martin Group, who is the designer of the race poster, Finger Lakes Radio Group, FingerLakes1.com, Mackenzie Childs, Inns of Aurora.
And are you doing an event, I know in the past, are you doing events in Aurora?
We are. So we
Okay.
kick off with an event that is called the Right to Rally, and it's a cocktail party at the Inns of Aurora.
And you had done this last year. You
We
had a
did.
similar event. Okay.
And it was
Yes.
shocking how
So-
many people went. I didn't expect it.
Now,
a lot
for
of fun.
that, so that event, you do charge for that. That's not something you just walk in.
Correct. Those
Okay.
tickets are $100.
Okay.
And there'll be lots of.
And that's the 11th?
It is.
Okay.
So it's Thursday evening, 6 to 8.
And on your website, you have a whole list of events, and we'll talk about some of these. So why do this?
Well,
Not that your bank board has asked us of you on a couple of occasions, I'm sure.
Yeah, one of the things that I noticed in Seneca Falls is that we don't do a very good job of promoting who we are. And we are the home of women's rights. Now, granted, we have the National Park, we have the Hall of Fame.
Which are two, so we should say.
Totally distinct organizations.
So we're in the paper right now, the National Park Service is going through its own issues with the administration, and,
Sure.
and it's across the country, it's just not Seneca Falls.
Right.
This is, what you're talking about is a separate, not-for-profit 501c3.
Right, the Hall of Fame is entirely separate.
Okay, and this is where you recognize on average 12, 13, how many are in each class?
Every other year it's about 12 people that
12,
are women that are inducted to the Hall of Fame. We've got a great class coming up in this September. We'll induct 12 women to the
Have you
Hall of
announced
Fame.
who they are?
Yes.
Can you give us some examples?
If I could remember their names.
Okay.
I know there's a lieutenant general.
Okay.
Hold on.
Andrew
Carol-
Cuomo's mother.
Okay.
Carol Mutter, or it could
Okay.
be Muter. She's the first 3-star general in the Marine Corps to head up a real brigade, if you will. So
And
she's
who
gonna be
makes those
inducted.
picks? Is that your board? Is there a
Oh,
committee?
No, there's about there's a whole class of people, about 120 of them, that review the applications, and we try to get one from many different fields.
So 19K is basically because of the 19th Amendment.
That's it. And we're trying to get some notoriety that's gets people to the town.
So I know
Into
PBS
the
on Friday night did a piece on Tennessee. They were the 36th state that approved the amendment. New York was in the first group. It may have been, depends if you go alphabetical or by date, but it was, there were 3 the first day and then 3 the second, and New York was in that.
in the
So I'll
second
count them those fourth. So where was New York in this whole process of the amendment?
Well, they approved they recognized the right of women to vote in 1917.
Separate from the whole
Separate
amendment
from the
process,
whole
it was
amendment.
2 years later.
Right.
Okay.
And then it was in 20 that we all got activated.
And if I remember correctly, the Lieutenant Governor Hochul is heading up an effort to recognize not only New York on 1917, but all the way through to
Yes. So there's a commission, and
Okay.
Lieutenant Governor is the head of that commission, and there's women from across the state who are on the commission with her. And we were at the first meeting that they had. It was at the McClintock House in Waterloo. So Menzo and I were both there for that commission
and
kickoff.
For those who don't know, what's the McClintock House?
So it's also part of Women's Rights National Historical Park, and Martha McClintock was one of the women who helped organize the first convention.
And that was in 1848.
Yes.
There. Okay.
Yep.
So there's obviously the event on May 13th. There are some items leading up to that. One big player in all of this is Catherine Switzer.
Yes.
Who I know when you were on last year, we talked a little bit about, but could you remind us who she is?
Sure. So Catherine Switzer is our national spokesperson. In 1967, she was a student at Syracuse University, and she became the first woman to run the Boston Marathon as a numbered registrant.
And there's a horrific photo, and you can say it's wonderful from a photography standpoint, but horrific photo where a man's trying to push her out of the way.
The
Yes.
organizer.
So that man, his name was Jock Stempel, and he was the race director. She just happened to be at the 2-mile mark when the race director came by in the press truck, and someone said, "Hey, there's a dame in your race," and he jumped off of the bus and tried to throw her.
Whatever happened to him?
They became friends later.
yeah.
So he
actually
didn't end up on the
reconciled.
ash heap of history.
No, he
as the
reconciled.
guy thought. They did.
No, and
Okay.
then he really became an advocate for women in the sport. So
And did you first meet her when she came for Seymour Library? They had an event where
I didn't get him to meet her then.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I did. Just the stars didn't align.
But your stars are aligning, and we'll get to that in a second. She will be in Seneca Falls starting on, she'll be at Wells or Aurora for that event.
Yeah, she'll actually, we're starting our week at Waterloo High School on Thursday morning. She'll speak to students there, much like she did last year. Last year we were able to have 1,000 students from 3rd grade to 12th grade hear her story. So
Okay.
we're doing that again this year.
And you're going to be in Auburn as well?
Yeah, so on Thursday we'll be in Waterloo, and on Friday we'll be at Auburn High School.
And are those events open to the public, or how are they being held?
They are. So first of all, we want to get all the students into the front rows and the seats, but we do have additional seats left. So
There's
there'll
about
be
900 seats at Auburn.
Yes. So
Okay.
we will have about 500 seats available for the general public to.
Do you have to pay to that, or is that a free?
No, it's a free event, and it'll be managed through an Eventbrite site, so people can just sign up for their ticket.
They
Okay.
could donate.
They
to
can.
the
No,
They
well, you never
absolutely could
return money your
donate.
way. By the way, will she be running in the race?
We haven't decided. We're waiting till after Boston.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So
She
let's
d-
not skirt around this.
She's doing like 3 interviews a day, and she's like, I can't decide now. Let me.
So she is running in Boston.
She is.
All right. You're running in Boston.
I am.
Is this your first marathon?
It is.
It's your first marathon.
Go
So-
big or go home, guy.
Okay. Okay.
So you know how sometimes you say things out
I was
loud
going to say,
and
what's your disability policy at the? So,
Good for her.
while May 13th is your race, the Boston Marathon is usually held in mid-April.
yes, it's in 20 days.
And now that you're counting, and so you're registered to run in it. This is your first marathon. So you're going right to the top. But there is some connection to Miss Switzer in this. Can you explain that?
Yes. So I am one of the 120 people, mostly women, but there are 7 men on our team who are running with Catherine. We're starting at the start line with her to raise money for her nonprofit, which is called 261 Fearless. So her bib number in that
26.1 is a marathon. Am I correct or no?
it
Or is that
is,
what her bib-
but her
That's
bib
quite a-
number was 261 in 1967.
Okay.
And so that number has just
Okay.
It's close.
So how
become-
did she get the bib number? Oh, because she didn't register as Catherine.
KD.
KD. Okay. Okay.
Right. So she was a PR student and she was a writer, and so she always used KV
And she's written a
Switzer.
book on this, and that's why Seymour Library, in fact, had
Yes.
her on. So she's heading the team. You're raising money for that organization. What does that money go towards?
So 261 Fearless Inc. is her global nonprofit, which is helping women set up running clubs across the world to really empower women through running and walking and building community.
And you had set a goal to raise personally.
Well, we all need to raise $7,261. Of course, we can raise more than that,
How
but
much have you raised?
$7,287.
So you're over your number right
am.
now. And I did notice, I went to the website, Generations made a donation towards this.
You have to.
You have to, okay.
No, it's our pleasure. It's to have anybody running the.
And will you try to raise money to go beyond the target? I know you have roughly
Yes.
20 days left, not that you're counting
Yes.
at all that. And how can somebody donate?
So they could look to the CrowdRise page. We have a team page for 261 Fearless on crowdrise.org, and they could just search in for 261 Fearless, and all of our team members are there.
Okay, and we'll come back to that at the end, but I did want to, you've mentioned it a little bit, and I know, so Ms. Switzer is going to be here for the cocktail party, and then are any of the students that you're going to see at Waterloo or Auburn, do you know if any of them are registered to run?
I know many of them intend to. I don't think they have signed up yet.
So how much does it cost to register?
Well, right now the cost is
bargain.
$27 for the 5K and $50 for the 19K, and the prices do increase on March 31st. So
Okay,
people
so
should
as you
sign
get
up
close.
soon.
So one of the reasons we have you on right now is because you have till Friday before April Fool's comes around, and you can get a discount for that.
Yes.
So what do you get by way of your registration?
So for
Besides a
the
Bonadette bib.
you'll get a
Trade, get the
fabulous you get a race bib for the 5K or the 19K. You get a beautiful race T-shirt. The 19K folks get a medal that Catherine most likely will be the one putting around your neck.
Okay.
And then a great after party right along the side of the canal at the Seneca Knitting Mill. We have lots of different vendors. Also, New York Chiropractic College is there giving massages and stretching. The postmaster is there canceling stamps, so we have a special 19th Amendment
So
station.
one of the cool things that the Seneca Falls postmaster does, sounds like twice a year, they do a special postmark They do one for
It's a
Wonderful
Wonderful,
Life
yes.
in December,
Yes.
where they do that. Is that the first weekend of December? You usually have
Somewhere
whether
near
it's
the Wonderful
Zuzu
Life
or-
run.
Yes.
And I know there's always a line when I tend to go every year, and there's always a line at the post office where they're hand canceling, so they'll do the same. So they
Yes,
have a
and
special.
so the postmaster, Dawn, she actually brings her mail truck and she comes right to the vendor village,
Okay.
and she's selling posters and postcards, and people can get
so
those
is the
canceled.
hand stamp a
stamp
specific?
cancel, yes,
Is
it's
it? But
for
does
us.
it say something that on there
It
about?
says 19th Amendment Station, and then it has our logo, and it'll say second annual and have the date.
So, so you're going to have these vendors there. Is it all running and athletic vendors, or is it other things too?
It's a mix. So far we have, as I mentioned, New York Chiropractic College is there, the Seneca Falls Historical Society, the National Women's Hall of Fame, the Women's Rights National Historical Park, and then we have some food vendors.
Chiropractic College.
Yes,
So it's more than just. So what I'm saying.
Catherine's
this
there
is-
signing books.
Yeah, this is not something that is just solely if you're into racing you go to.
Actually,
this is a community
if you just
event.
want to have fun, go there and watch them finish the race. It really is interesting.
Yeah, and then there's
'Cause the
music.
people that
So
come through, they've accomplished something in a lot of cases. It's a 19K or even a 5K. They're just really excited.
So
a lot of energy.
How long does it? I'm sorry, I don't know these things. How long does it take to do a 19K roughly?
40 minutes on.
it depends on your time, but I mean, most people, if they're running fast, they're doing about a 7-minute mile.
Okay.
So it's
We'll,
an
I mean,
hour and 7 minutes. Or give
we
or take.
have,
Yeah.
I mean, once the first 5K runners start coming in, we have finishers going all the way
So
until
do you
about
do you
12
start
o'clock.
the 5K first and then the 19, or do they? What time do they
Simultaneous.
start?
They both start at the same time, 8:30.
8:30, and you have to register. And you have to pre-register. You are not taking walk-ins, do you?
People could walk in if they wanted to. Actually, the woman who won the 19K, the top female
walk-in,
finisher, she is a professor at Hobart William Smith. She woke up that morning and said, "I'm going to go run the 19K," and she was our top finisher. So
And what was her time roughly? Do you remember?
I don't
It
remember.
was under an hour.
It was fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll drive it. But anyway, so I'll drive. So
I'll watch them run by.
watch them run by. So how much did you raise last year for the hall?
Well, we gave them a check for 5,000.
And what's your hope to give this year?
Well, I'd like to see double that. I don't know what we'll do, but whatever we get, because we're doing it, because Generation's been so generous, we don't have any expenses for anything. You know, we've donated everything we can. So whatever we get, we turn right over. We didn't mention Fleet Feet out of Rochester that does all the legwork.
So what? I'm sorry. What is Fleet?
Fleet Feet is a running organization. You
Okay.
probably could tell a little bit more.
Yeah, so
than
they
I.
have an event arm called Yellow Jacket Racing, and they manage about 30 to 40 running events themselves, and they are our
we don't-
partner.
So they're doing the infrastructure and they
Yes.
make
Right.
sure that people are timed correctly. And,
Right.
Yes.
The timing and the
Okay.
water stations, where to put them, porta-john coordination. They've certified the track or where we're headed.
Is 19K an odd number
Yeah.
race?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, of course it is.
Okay. Well,
It
no,
is.
I didn't know if there were other.
Yeah, but that's, I think, part of the draw.
Well, that's the
as
whole
well.
thing. It's a 19K. It's unusual, and it's 19 amendment.
So I'm assuming you're here right now. You're committed to next year and the year after.
Oh.
This is a.
Do you want
this
to tell
is
me? You want me to tell you what I think it'll be?
Yes.
Okay. I tried to do it this year. We just didn't have enough air. I want to
I was going to go to this.
half
big-
marathon from Auburn, finishing in Seneca Falls. I'd like to have a 19K from Geneva, finishing in Seneca Falls.
And you talked about this on the show, and
That's
I was
right.
going to come back because I
Yeah.
do pay attention to what.
Well,
you all
we
talk-
started organizing. Sheriff Gould was actually part of it, and the goofy name there. What's the run that we have?
Chris Major Palooza.
Palooza.
Oh,
Major
Major
Palooza.
okay.
So Chris
Chris
Major
Major.
was helping us. We just couldn't get the.
We'll have him on later next month. but
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, so we hope to work that out, and it's really the
And
state.
they do the Stefanik butterfly run
So much.
in Memorial Day. Okay.
So he was helping us get permits, and it just state was just a little more difficult.
because you're going to have to run on state roads for that particular one.
That's
Am I
right.
correct?
Right.
Is
I
it-
mean, our permit for just in Seneca County is an 85-page DOT permit application. So it's a lot of documentation and
legwork.
things
Literally.
because we need
Again,
to make sure
literally.
people
The
are
pun.
safe. So
So then
start
19K
early.
from Geneva, 5K from Waterloo, all finishing at the knitting.
So, we said this at the beginning. You're the idea guy,
That's right.
and you're the enabler.
That's right.
Okay, every perfect relationship has to have that.
You gotta have
So, Vendor Village is from what time to what time?
From 8 to noon.
And
And then that's also where we give out the prizes. So if there are age group
so
prizes.
does it go long beyond noon? I mean, if somebody comes out, what time does Vendor
Not really.
Village go to?
It'll be packed up probably by about 1 o'clock.
Yeah, it just wraps itself up.
Okay, and then I want to just go back to the if people aren't necessarily running in this event, I do want to talk about just what you're doing with the Women's Hall of Fame. So you are raising money. What's the timeline for raising the remaining $6 million other than till you're
Well,
done?
the good news is most of it is raised.
Okay.
So we've got a couple $100,000 to raise, and we have to do it now. So
Okay.
what's time for now? How about now? Now.
Okay.
Okay. So we're working on it now. We're in great shape. I hope that they'll put a press release out. We just got National Park Service approval, which gives us historic tax credits, which are
Okay.
enormous. So you'll see some construction in the next month.
So when you say historic tax credits, are those things that you will sell for money?
Yes.
Because you're a not-for-profit in
Right.
itself.
We can sell them.
Okay, and generate some funds that way as well.
Absolutely.
How large a board do you have?
There's about 22, I think it is now.
Mainly from the Finger Lakes in Central New York?
About half are from the Finger Lakes Central region, and then the other half are from throughout the states.
And is your plan still for race 3? So let's jump ahead because you're not done. But race 3 in 2018, will it be around the opening of the knitting mill, or do you think there's two separate events?
Well, I would love that. It could be done.
Okay.
Yes, because we need to be done. I think it's midsummer.
Why do you need to be? Is there a
There's
deadline?
a grant, a New York State Restore grant that we've
Okay.
had, and it expires. We're not going to let that happen.
Okay.
It's too much money.
And so let's talk a little bit about basics again. People can see these posters all over. Where do they go online?
So they go to righttorun19k.org
And they can register for either the 5K or the 19K.
or to volunteer.
And let's deal with volunteer in a
Okay.
second. So what's the cost again between now and Friday? Because this will show on Saturday and Sunday. If you miss the April 1st deadline, you can still register, but what's the price jump to?
The price will go to $57 for the 19K and $32 for.
So just an incremental.
Yes.
And does it go
Yes.
up after that? Or
It does, and that's very standard in race signups.
You're learning this
Yeah,
all.
the
Okay.
closer you get to the event, and even on race day, it costs even more.
And so for volunteers, they can volunteer online. What are you looking for them to do besides register online? What are some of the tasks?
So some of the different roles are road marshaling. You need to be 18 years old to do that. Water station stops, registration, some packet pickup.
I could pick up.
Okay. And people can register. And there's, other than to be a road marshal, you will take high schoolers as volunteers otherwise, or
Yes.
no? Okay. And they do not have to be Auburn High School students or Waterloo students. They can be anywhere in the general area. And then again, you're in the Boston, in 20 days, you're going to be in the Boston Marathon. How can people donate to your cause as well, and Ms. Switzer?
Sure. So there's a CrowdRise link, crowdrise.org. They can search for 261 Fearless. They could also go to Auburn Pub and search for an article that was written about me, and there's a link in there as well.
Okay. So we do want to thank MACINTYRE Case, who's the president and CEO of Generations Bank, as well as Katie McIntyre, who's an Auburnian, I should say that, and serve on
Proud
a number
Auburnian.
proud Auburnian, serve on a number of boards. We've had you on ABCQ and many other endeavors, which is opening up very, very soon as well. And we had Nancy T on 2 weeks ago, but you are the Assistant Vice President for Marketing for Generations Bank. We do encourage you to go to their website to look and see if you can participate. Like I said, last year was massive, and this year is going to be even more massive. So please go to the website and look up the 19K Right to Run. We'll be back in just a moment with Cuyahoga County Community College President Brian Durant, who we had to cancel 2 weeks ago because of Winter Storm Stella. It will not snow on May 13th.
No, I hope not.
No, who will give us a college update. We'll be back on Tuesday with our other two guests, one of the other two guests we had to cancel, and that is City Manager Jeff Dygart, who will be on to give us a city update, including discussions about where the city is in the preparation of their 2017-2018 budget that starts on July 1st. and of course the Auburn Double Days, which the city owns or taxpayers own. Beyond the front page, we'll have Seymour librarian Lisa Carr. She'll give us an update about changes that are being made currently at the library, as well as give us a sneak peek at National Library Week, which is the following week. Over the next couple of weeks, we will have several Inside Government shows, including Senator John T. Francisco, who will be in the studio. We hope to bring you Assemblyman Robert Oakes and Congressman John Cacco. Beyond the front page, we'll have shows in regards to the Auburn Education Foundation as they do their Hall of Fame event in May as well. And we'll have the Double Days in Major Palooza. Chris Major will be here, among other topics. Before we go, though, we would like to let you know that you can send us your ideas for guests or questions. You can send them to cozgytho@aol.com or Inside Government or Beyond the Front Page, care of 141 Dunning Avenue, Auburn, New York, 13021. I'm Guy Cosentino for CU Community College. We want to thank you for watching. Stick around for a few minutes and we'll have President Durant on, and then otherwise we will see you back in the studio next week.